What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, if you watched the game on Sunday or if you play fantasy football, it was a disaster. Let's just get it out the way, right? But one of the things that really was a misnomer was Jalen Waddle having one catch for 15 yards. And you can think of it as okay, he just got locked down by Denzel Ward. You can think of it as they use him as a diversion, which sometimes teams do with the number one receiver, a la AJ Brown, who's always running open, and then they're like, "Nah, we're going this way." But evidently, there was actually a more I can't. I was just not nefarious. There was another reason why Jalen Waddle possibly didn't get the ball, and Tua describes what that may have been. He says some of it has to do with being able to see guys, with their guys also up front and our guys, and I'm not the tallest guy in the back there either. So being able to see, and then sometimes when that happens, you don't want to throw it blindly, and you got to progress. So I think that has some merit to reasons as to why that happened for Waddle. So basically, it was like, "Hey man, I'm too short to make some of those throws." Sorry, I didn't see him. He almost said, quite literally, "I did not see Jalen on the field, and because I couldn't see him, I just moved on to my next progression," which is a string of about 4 weeks in a row where Tua has just been abysmal on the microphone. Also, doesn't quite check out because he's the same height as Baker Mayfield, and somehow Baker Mayfield going into Monday night's game, which was a disaster for him. Going into that game, Baker Mayfield was odds-on favorite to win MVP. I've obviously Baker can find guys. You think his offensive line is also not tall? All defensive linemen not tall against him as well. So yet somehow he has Emeka Ibuka having one of the best rookie seasons of all time. Mike Evans being out for a lot of this year and him still throwing all these touchdowns, like that doesn't make sense. Bryce Young is shorter than both of them, and you can tell he has issues seeing over the line, so he's always one backing up even further, like sort of a 5 step drop. He's taking eight, not like he's back sometimes, and then when he's making throws, he kind of like slithers and finds angles. Jackson Dart 6'2", Aaron Rodgers is 6'2", Patrick Mahomes is 6'2". Like Tua's listed at 6'1", even if you think he's actually 6 foot tall. Okay, fine. I've never seen Patrick Mahomes be like, I can't see somebody. Where are they? What? Huh? Where's any of my 19 receivers running around the field? Lamar's 6'2". Like, I don't know what. This doesn't make sense in terms of, like, the height part. Unless Tua is, in fact, like Kyler Murray's height in real life. And then, okay, fine. But even Kyler Murray still makes decent throws down the field. This is like another thing of just don't be honest. We don't need this level of honesty. You could have just been like, "Hey, man, Jalen was in the play. We got down. They started putting more attention on him. I went to other guys trying to get guys going. It just didn't work out. Next game, Jalen, I got you." I think that's totally cool. To be like, "Hey, dog, couldn't see you out there. Too busy being small." It's like, hey, we don't need that. Stop being honest. And that sounds crazy to say out loud, but Tua, I beg of you, just stop being honest. Like it's just not gonna work out for you. Just stop. Predictably, on this very show, I said, "Hey man, Darren Waller's going to the IR. If he was questionable to play as of yesterday for Sunday, like I play fantasy football, he's questionable. I'm like, not only is he not playing Sunday, he's about to get put on the IR. And guess what happened today? He was placed on the IR. Of course he was. What we think we're gonna just bring him back early? Even if he did get healthy in 2 weeks, why would we bring him back immediately off an injury when he had injuries going into the year too? It made no sense. The IR was a very predictable place for him to go. It was predicted on the show, and so he's on the IR for the next 4 weeks. Don't be shocked if it's longer than that. Don't be shocked if he doesn't play again. I'm just gonna put both of those out. I don't want that to happen. I drafted Darren Waller and got some money off of him. I want to see him play. He also looks ginormous on our offense because of how small our receivers are and how short Tua is. When he's on the field, like, dude, that guy might be an avatar. Like, he's huge, but injury prone. That was the biggest knock going into the year. Hey, he gets hurt a lot. Also, where's his headspace going to be? And he came into the season hurt, despite the many almost bold-faced lies we were getting from his agent. "Oh, he's ready to go. This guy's in as good a shape as I've ever seen." I'm like, okay, Didn't believe it. Didn't buy it. Guess what happened? None of that. Now he's out again, and I'm hoping he's only out for 4 weeks. But depending on where we are 4 weeks from now, would it be smarter to not bring him back at all, or would it be like, hey, the last 5 games of the year, let's bring you back as like an audition, maybe for us for next year. But again, if he's already been hurt twice in the side of 6 weeks, I don't see the Dolphins like we're gonna bring you back for 2 more years. That would be foolish. But there are teams in the league who may be like, hey, we kind of are okay with our young tight end, but we want a veteran tight end that has some upside. We'll bring him in, and y'all can be in a timeshare. And if he goes down, cool. We got somebody, i.e., like Chicago. They got Colston Loveland, and they have Cole Kmet. Now, Cole Kmet probably wants to get traded at some point, but they brought the young guy in, and if Kmet is out, Colston gets more, and vice versa. They can kind of make it work. I can see that happening for Darren Waller for next year, but uh, this was a predictable ending. Not happy about it because he definitely gave the team a spark. That was, and we honestly never got to see the full version of him and Tyreek and Waddle all at the same time, which is what we were all hoping for, which kind of sucks. We kind of saw them in spurts, but I hope he gets back soon. They said his pec injury wasn't that bad. That's what the reporting was. So I don't think he'll need surgery, which is like the biggest thing. I think he just has to recover by himself. We will see what happens. Hopefully, we see him back later this year. So Ian Rapoport is a big time reporter, insider. He does a lot of NFL stuff. And I guess like the Dolphins have been on everybody's tongue for the last 2 weeks because one, it's just been a disaster on the field, but two won't stop talking. And then Coach McDaniel also doesn't stop talking. So they both have been, making things difficult on the fan base and probably for management, if we're being totally honest. So Ian Rapoport was giving his assessment of what's going on with the team itself in terms of upper management in relation to the coach, in terms of what the team is going to do going forward, what changes haven't been made, what changes will come. Okay? Here is what he said. This is a long one, so bear with me. He said, the Miami Dolphins are going to roll forward with what they have, hoping the results are different. I think one thing that the past week's events have showed us is that change is coming to the Dolphins. Obviously, Mike McDaniel is someone that Stephen Ross really likes and respects. He supported him. He chose him. He has invested in him with a big-time contract extension. Does not want to fire him. The results, though, have to change. Now, once again, y'all know if I get something right, I'm going to let you know, okay? Because a lot of people be reporting stuff out here with better sourcing than me, and they're more plugged in. But I be saying stuff, and it be right a lot. I said, again, yesterday, before Ian Rapoport reported this, hey, man, I think Coach McDaniel is getting reports that you're good. You're my guy. And we're going to let this roll and just kind of see where it goes. I didn't have perfect reporting on that. I had some anecdotal little things. I was piecing together stories. I'm not going to give y'all sourcing. But Ian Rapoport is one of those guys. He's not maybe at the Schefter level, but he's in that ballpark. I'm guessing he's talked to some people in the know. It may not be Stephen Ross, but it may be somebody very close to Stephen Ross. Because he didn't report it as, I don't know what's going on with Miami. He didn't say exactly what changes would come, so it's clear that he wasn't given like a specific directive. And honestly, I don't think Stephen Ross has one. I think he does want to play the year out. I don't think he wants to fire anybody. I think he loves Coach McDaniel. I think he sees him the way Kyle Shanahan or Mike Shanahan were when they first came in, Sean McVay when they first came into the league, where it's like, I got a whiz kid over here, I got a wonder kid over here. Like I want this person to be on my team. I think if I do my job right as an owner, we can this can be my guy. I don't think he wants Coach McDaniel to go somewhere else and then use his genius to beat him. That's what I believe. But you can't keep going out there and losing. Something's got to give. And I mentioned a few episodes back that maybe it's Coach McDaniel giving up some power responsibilities, meaning there's an assistant coach who has a fair amount of power, perhaps a former coach, but someone you don't want necessarily running your team. This is not necessarily, Rex Ryan is too big of a personality, but someone who like Spagnuolo. Obviously, Andy Reid coaches that team, but Spags has been a coach before, and he runs the defense, and he runs it with iron fists. So if Andy Reid was like, bro, I'm getting old, can you take over more of the meetings and stuff? Spags is like, I got you. He's got that cachet, but he's not really a threat to Andy Reid because Andy Reid is Andy Reid, right? I can see a number of scenarios happening, again, where Coach McDaniel does not get fired. I think Stephen Ross thinks he has a diamond that's barely been polished yet, that he can really get more from this. But changes do have to happen, and I don't know what those look like. I think it most likely is roster changes. I'm at the point now. I don't even think Chris Greer's going to get fired. I think he's going to get a position in the company, and that position is going to be basically still GM, not called GM. He's going to be like special advisor to the general manager, but then he still has the power because they just love Chris Greer. Like I can see Stephen Ross trying to keep this such a family thing that basically I'm just going to shuffle y'all around like Shamu after all his incidents. I'm just going to shuffle y'all around, and you work for the team. You're not going to be the mouthpiece of the team, but you will be the person calling the shots. We had this before, right? We started 1-7, ended 9-8 under Coach Flores, and it was like, oh, do we make a run like that again? I doubt we can make that kind of run. Some of that was scheduling things. Also, some of that was the team just kind of turned it around. I do not think we're a one-win team. I just say that. Even if you're super down on the team, you're like, yeah, your feelings about it, we're not a one-win team. We have one win, but we're not that level bad. I think we're probably like legit a 3-4, maybe at worst case a 2-5 team. That's where I think we actually are. But I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think any changes are coming anytime soon. But I do think as the year progresses, we look up and we're 2-14. There might be more changes than not. But if we get to that, like I said, the 5-6 win mark, you get 6 wins, you can almost expect. I don't think anything is going to change. So kind of knock on wood, but also kind of not. Tyreek Hill's been very quiet since his surgery, which is unlike Tyreek, but he also hasn't been on the field. So part of his mystique and part of his brand is him being on the field doing stuff and then talking about it. But by the time you see this episode, it will be the day of his taping with Teron Armstead, where they're going to talk about, how he feels post-injury. I'm sure his assessment on the year. The question is Tyreek going to spill something he should not be spilling? I don't see any scenario where Tyreek comes back next year. I think that's completely out the window because Tyreek's going to want money. Period. Tyreek knows this is probably his last contract. He's coming off a major injury. I can't afford to do one-year deals. He's got to do what Stephon Diggs did with New England. I know I'm kind of washed, but my name kind of matters, and I'm still kind of good. Pay me maybe decently and give me a multi-year situation, and then that'll be my last contract. I think Tyreek's again looking for a 3-year, almost $100 million contract. So if you see that in the offseason, you heard it here. But we don't have that kind of money. It doesn't make any sense for us to do that, especially when we're going to be bringing in new talent, younger, cheaper people. So I don't see a scenario where Tyreek comes back. But Tyreek is still on the team, even though he's hurt. And I'm looking forward to seeing, is he going to let something fly that should not be flying? Is he going to tell an internal story? Is he going to name the player who's been late for the meetings and the team meeting stuff? Is he going to name other guys who were disrespectful of Coach McDaniel and Tua? I don't believe Teron Armstead is bringing Tyreek on to just talk about his injury recovery. I don't believe that. I think Teron Armstead is trying to get some press. He's trying to get some clippings. He wants a couple things to go viral. And Tyreek's he's a perfect person to make something go viral. Almost everything Tyreek says is kind of viral because of how he says it. But also Tyreek doesn't know time and place. He just lets that thing go. And you do that on podcasts during the worst season in the last 20 years for your team. And, people down to your quarterback, down to your coach. But people still kind of like you, even though your last year wasn't good and you weren't really off to a hot start this year. Tyreek is still Tyreek. He's still Cheetah. And if he gets on that, hey, man, if I was out there, we'd be winning time. Or, man, yeah, Tua kind of fell off after that first year. Coach McDaniel, I don't know if he's really a coach. If he lets any of that kind of stuff go, woof. Because now the conversation was a week ago, hey, Tua, do you want to take back what you said? And now it's how do you feel about what Tyreek said? And then we got to do this whole mess again about off the field things. I'm contabulizing over here. It could be bad. But also Tyreek can just get on there and be like, yo, I'm recovering. My knee feels good. I'm fine. Looking forward to the team. He could be bigging the team up. Who knows? Tyreek might go out there and be like, yo, man, I think those guys in the locker room are working real hard. Coach got him on a string. Y'all gonna see we're gonna make a run. We're gonna get back to 5-5. Who knows? Or 5-6-6. Like, who knows where Tyreek's gonna go with it? I'm just saying the entire time that I've seen Tyreek, the entire time from the Chiefs to the Dolphins, Tyreek says what he wants. He doesn't really think about it, it seems. And it can go left or right. And then when it's done, as long as he's catching 90-yard touchdowns, we just say, he did say something kind of wild. But you know what? He's still fast. And we just let it rock. Because he's not playing. If he says something crazy, he doesn't have the game on the field to buffer us from what he said. And so it's going to be a Coach Daniel. He said, you might be in over your skis. How do you feel? Hey, Tua, Tyreek said without him, you're a third-rate quarterback. How do you feel? I don't know. It's going to be good to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. And I guess I'm doing a plug for the show, even though I get absolutely no money from Teron Armstead. But because he played for the team as well, I'm hoping Teron keeps him kind of, within the lines. But we will see. I am nervous. I'm nervous Tua's going to say something that's going to end up being clipped. Even if he says it like tongue-in-cheek, stay tuned. But as always, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.